Hey, everybody, I'm Matt,
I'm Deanna.
and this is Chasing Balance. And in today's episode, we're talking about time management hacks for parents. So, time management is a crucial skill for navigating the demands of both parenthood and work life because it allows individuals to juggle multiple responsibilities effectively, reduce stress, and find balance between family, career, and most importantly, personal well-being. Now, we're going to look at some of the common struggles parents face with balancing work, family, and personal life. And the biggest question is why do we have this belief that we have to do it all?
Yes, this is all super good, and we can really dive into this stuff. I feel like a majority of us right now in this phase of having kids, anywhere between toddlers to even 15, 16, we have
Mhm.
this conception in our head that we have to or misconception in our head that we have to like do everything and anything for these children.
Yeah.
And also in the work world, like we feel like we have to do everything ourselves and accomplish all those big projects and like prove ourselves. And really we shouldn't be putting that amount of stress and pressure on ourselves.
So we need to prioritize. So
Yes.
what is prioritization?
Not only is it impossible to do everything, and we have to really understand that, like, that's an unrealistic goal that we all have.
It's unhealthy too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that mindset in parents, we have to prioritize tasks
Hmm.
and responsibilities so that it becomes realistic
Yeah.
and allows us to have a healthy mindset and focus on what truly matters. Now, what are those things that truly matters? I think that varies between each individual family.
Right.
Like making sure that we cover all the grounds, the basic the high level priorities, and then, going into the mid level and
Mhm.
then basically leaving the rest at the bottom of the food chain.
So each family needs to identify the most important tasks for each day or what
Exactly.
works for their family through the week, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I mean, it could not, it might not be like on a weekly basis because we do have like those monthly things that we have to do,
Right.
or even like the yearly things that we have to do. So, I mean, taking into account all of those responsibilities and really prioritizing them will allow you to have a healthier mindset, a
Mhm.
healthier outlook on, family and also on your work. All those big things that take up a majority of your life space,
And if you
essentially.
also, figure out what the most important tasks are and you rule out all the bullshit that
Mhm,
doesn't really matter,
mhm,
you don't need to have. When one thing is set, like if your kids are set, if you know that they're set at school, you know that they're set at sports, you have healthy lunches, you have healthy routines for them, other things can thrive, such as far as your work career,
yes,
right? So
yeah,
you're not at work worrying about what's going on with your kid or did you get this done for your kid or is your
mhm,
kid set up for success for the next day? That way that you can actually focus on what you're actually working on right then. Either you're focusing on your kids or you're focusing on your job or you're focusing on this or you're focusing on that, right? All the other bullshit doesn't matter. And you take that off of your plate.
yeah, and I mean, you can also do that in the reverse as well. Like, you have to do that at work in
Mhm.
order for when you have to turn off your work brain, you can focus in on the important things that are necessary to accomplish in your family life.
Right.
Because you don't wanna be doing all the tasks and everything that you have to get done for the family,
Mhm.
or even, doing the important stuff such as, like, setting aside family time,
Mhm.
and in the back of your mind, you're thinking about, "Oh, this project," or, like, "Oh, I have to make sure that I remember to add this to, my work docket," you gotta set up good tasks and good routines and good systems and a work base so that your family side can also thrive.
Right. So now tell me, what are your top priorities and how do you handle them on a daily basis? You can rule me out. Like, what are yours? When you wake up in the morning, what are your top priorities? What are you
Uh,
laughing about?
because-
No, because I'm sure, like, well, I'll go first,
okay,
okay?
yeah.
So obviously, the top priority is to wake up on time so my kid gets to school on time,
Yes.
which these start times are absolutely bullshit.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
but waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to make sure my kid gets there, that's the number one priority. The second one is obviously I come back home and help you with the other two kids, get them out the door.
Mhm.
And then, I log into work. But really, my most important top priority is that I typically feel like shit if I don't do something as far as like exercise goes.
Okay.
Like I feel my work life is affected if I don't go out on a run. If I
Okay.
don't do something physically active, I feel like my work day is screwed. And once I have my run in or an exercise in or something that's physically active, I feel like the rest of my work day is more successful.
Oh, okay.
That's how I prioritize. Like, get the kids going, and then I need to do something to get my head, get any stress out, get anything like that out of the way, and then I can focus on work. That's how I set my priorities for the day.
Okay. Mine are similar. I make sure that I wake up on time because when I need to wake up, you're already gone. And we all know that I don't wake up for anything.
Yeah, there's never been a time where I've came home and been like, "Hey, Deanna,
You
you
gotta get
gotta
out
wake
the
up."
door in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Well, I just sleep through all the alarms and I even have
yeah,
my watch alarm on. And you
yeah.
think that like vibration would wake me up, but no, it doesn't.
Right.
So yeah, that's main priority is just waking up in general. Um, and then, I mean, getting them out the door, yes. Making sure that they actually eat their breakfast, yes. Making
Mhm,
sure that they've brushed their hair, yes, because they look like slobs if they don't.
mhm.
But then when it comes to work, I normally my priority at work is I look at my email count
Yeah,
and I subtract 15. So
okay.
once I get to that number, whatever that number is, and
Yeah.
I know that I've responded to at least 15 major tasks,
Mhm.
then I'm good in terms of what I've prioritized for work. Now I go through
And then
everything.
you just log off and go back to sleep.
Exactly. Fuck it. No, like I make sure that I've done those at least, like 10 to 15 major things so that I don't have to talk to people. Like I know that I'm going to hear back from this person if I
Just
don't.
following up on this.
Right, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like that.
Congratulations, you're the most
Um,
annoying person in the office.
yeah, and
Thanks for
then
following up.
if I reach that and I get it all done and I've done like that part of work,
Mhm.
then I feel like I'm pretty much accomplished on my work side of things.
Right.
Um, with that being said, a majority of my work is a lot of emails because that's just what corporate is. Um, and then from a physical side of things, if I get one good workout in and I hit like 40 zone minutes,
Yeah.
whatever that consists of,
Yeah.
mentally I'm
40 is
good.
good.
40 it
40 minutes is good.
I don't feel like it's actual minutes though, because the way that Fitbit like calculates it,
Yeah.
it's not legitimately 40 minutes because if you get your
You
heart
think
rate
it's
up,
longer?
no, like if you're walking, then it's obviously more than 40 minutes because your heart rate isn't in that zone.
Until
And
you get to a certain, so it's
exactly.
longer than 40 minutes, yeah.
It could be longer or it could be
As soon as you
shorter.
get on that treadmill, just hit 12 miles an hour and just start freaking sprinting.
I would die.
Didn't you, don't you ever think of that? If I go faster, I'll get done sooner.
There is a part of me like that thinks that, but also I
I will
know,
die.
yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would. I can't physically, my little legs will not go past 7 miles an hour.
So those are kind of our top priorities, at least in the morning time. And then obviously we have the typical parent thing after school. There's school pickup, and then there's make lunches for the next day. There's make dinner, make sure that the dinner is healthy. At least have a vegetable in there. Make sure the kids eat that. We'll probably go further within to our schedule and that we have throughout the day. But you came across this helpful tool that's called the Eisenhower Matrix, which is a time management tool that helps individuals prioritize tasks based on their urgency and importance. Now, there's
Yeah.
different quadrants, and I know that you probably don't remember this by heart, so feel free to read it off of there, obviously. But yeah, tell us about the quadrants that you found.
Yeah, so as I was doing some research for this episode topic, I was also trying to improve the way that we do things. I found
Mhm.
this and I thought it was kind of interesting, and I think that we're going to implement it in on our side.
Okay.
Um to see how it works out. So basically it's four quadrants, and you just take those all of your items that you have to do, all of your tasks, all of your priorities, and you just kind of list them out. From there, in quadrant one, we're going to take the urgent and the important things. Now, that is, those are the things that require the immediate attention, the things that you have to do first and foremost.
And that you
So,
should do first and foremost.
yeah, that you
Yep.
should do first and foremost.
Hmm.
Now, that could be like, you know, work, family related. It could be financially related. Like we have to make sure that we make the mortgage payment on the first of the month,
Right, right.
those types of things. And it can be weekly tasks or on a monthly task basis.
Okay.
Um, so then you go into quadrant two. Now, quadrant two is the non urgent but still important things.
Okay.
So those are your essentially your long-term goals, your personal growth or well-being goals. These are the things that you kind of schedule. You schedule these tasks.
Okay.
So that would be like your personal workout.
Right.
Things like okay, I'm going to read this book on self-help,
Okay.
or even well-being. So your diet, those types of things. So we're going to prioritize those in quadrant number two.
Okay. Now, quadrant three is urgent but not important.
Yes.
So they demand attention quickly, but don't contribute it significantly to your personal or professional goals.
Yeah, so those would be like things that you can delegate. So you don't personally have to do, but you can divvy it out.
Okay.
So in my mind that goes to like kids chores,
Okay.
or even not necessarily kids chores, but in the summer you're the lawn duty.
Oh, right.
Those types of things. They're important.
Hmm.
Um or I'm sorry, they're not urgent and they don't have to be accomplished like super quickly,
Right.
but they still fall into a relatively like or relative area that needs to be accomplished.
Okay.
Um, and the last one is those things that are not urgent and not even important, but they still are in the back of our minds, and those are things that we feel like we need to get done.
Just eliminate those.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
get rid of those MFers.
So to reiterate, quadrant one, urgent and important. That's what you should be focusing on first. Quadrant two, not urgent, but important. These are those tasks that you can schedule out.
Mhm.
Quadrant three, urgent, but not important. And these are ones that you can delegate to other people, either the little minions in your family or possibly hire somebody else to do them.
Yes.
And then quadrant four, not urgent, not important. Just get rid of the tasks, get them out of your mind, out of your space, so you can focus more on quadrant one and quadrant two. Now, what is another thing that you brought up while we were writing the show, or while you were writing the show, was batching tasks. What is batching tasks?
So that's like the grouping of similar tasks,
Okay.
and putting together so that you can save time and save energy.
Okay.
So, you know, what would be a good example of that?
So like meal prepping for the week?
Yes, yes.
No,
So
clean.
like meal prepping, so you have everything you've put together all of your meals,
Right.
and you don't have to think about it, and you just pull it out and then you get it done for, that night.
Kind of like how we make lunch every single day for the kids, where we could just make it fully. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't
I'm
do
really
that.
picky with food. Like, I wouldn't want a meal that was made on Monday for Friday,
Yeah, that's
right?
why we don't meal plan, and
Because
that's
of
why we
me.
don't eat leftovers either
Yeah.
because you were the pickiest of the five of us in terms of food.
So for other families, this would work
Yes.
for you.
For
So yeah,
normal, sane people, this would
so
work.
task batching, Task batching. So grouping similar tasks together to save time and energy, like meal prepping for the week or cleaning and organizing certain areas or certain things at the same time.
Mhm,
Not putting it off and doing saying, okay, I'll just clean this right now and then next week I'll come back and I'll organize that as well. Focusing on like one area that can
mhm.
be put together basically into one big chore instead of two small chores that will eventually take up more time.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
Um,
how do you block out time to batch tasks efficiently without feeling rushed?
so and that comes down to like scheduling and prioritizing your stuff,
Mhm.
right? So that makes it so you got to really pay attention once you have figured out what those urgent and what those non-urgent type of things are and what needs to be accomplished on a daily basis or even on a weekly basis, then you can kind of develop good guidelines on how to batch those tasks. So it's going to be different for every family.
And then that consistency of batching
Yeah.
frees up more time during the week.
Yeah, exactly. And also it'll fall into a routine. Like at first I'm sure that it's going to be a little bit clumsy and
Mhm.
it'll feel a little chaotic because it might be different. You
Right,
know, you've probably been running on the same speed for many, many years, trying to accomplish everything and anything under the sun.
right.
And now you're trying to reshift your whole entire, existence and your
We keep
world.
on doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yeah. And we also know in the back of our minds there has to be an easier way to do this.
Right.
This is ridiculous. And every single week we do it over and over and over.
Mhm.
Um, and so I feel like it's just really important to just take a second and try to weed out all the crap that isn't necessary for one, and then simplify and organize the stuff that is important so that it works for your family.
Right. And now when we say, the title of this is Time Management Hacks for Parents. Now when we say hack, everyone thinks like, oh, they got this, secret sauce, we're gonna hack in,
Yeah.
I got dark shades on and a beanie and I'm just hacking into, the schedule. Really, it's just us, doing some research online, looking back at it, and we
Mhm,
see that we're doing the same thing over and over again, and we're expecting a different result. Where if we look back at it and we look at how we're doing our tasks and our time management and how we aren't
mhm.
being as effective as we can be, right?
Yeah.
And it will free up more time, believe it or not, doing a little bit more work right now to figure out what will work better in the future for our family. um, Now, another thing that we found is time blocking, which is allocating specific periods in the day for certain tasks, like blocking out time for work.
Mhm.
Everybody does this, but we also got to block out time for family activities, household chores, and then obviously personal time. I do think that you and I have the day to day figured out mostly, like with our
Yeah.
schedules, you know,
Yes.
school, work, dinner, sports, no electronics for a certain time, do a family game, and then,
Mhm.
then the kids are allowed to use electronics, and then they go to bed, and then you and I have our own time, and then that's kind of like what it is Monday through Friday.
It is, yeah, and then we'll be really screwed when summer comes and it's just like a whole different bag, and then we'll have
I,
to figure it out from there.
I gotta tell you though, some summers there are times where I'm like, I don't want these kids to go back to school.
I
I
know.
just love having them home. And
Yeah.
then I think last summer I was just like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah. So, let's do an example of how, you and I schedule our days with blocks,
Yeah.
like, it's just a block time. Obviously, I know from 6 to 7, I'll be dropping, Preston off at school, waking
Mhm.
up, dropping Preston off at school. 7 to 8, I know you're up. I come home. We
Let's hope. Let's hope I'm awake.
yeah, we drop the other kids off, and then obviously we have the regular work day. Kids
Mhm.
need to be picked up. Then we have sports, dinner, all that, just like what I just said. And then, the nighttime is, typically around 8:30, 9 o'clock is when everything starts winding down.
I will say, hold on, before we go into that. I will say that on the work side of things,
Mhm.
I even take it a step further, and I've done this for a very long time. I block out the same period of time,
Mm.
two two chunks of time in my calendar so nobody schedules meeting me into meetings
There you go.
during that period of time.
At work.
Yeah, at work.
Is that, like, while you're doing, like, pickup, or is it just, like, for you to have your own time to kinda get caught up?
It's during pickup and it's also during drop off, but it extends past that. So it gives me that breathing time to get back and not have anybody like
So you
harass
don't feel
me.
rushed,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then there are some days where I do it at lunch as well, or like what would be considered lunch.
Mhm. Now,
So basically I just black out my whole calendar, my
she doesn't
full
even
day.
work. No, she
Yes.
doesn't work. No. So now, another way to save time is also to delegate and ask for help, right? It's not, and you and I have had these discussions before in the past, right?
Mhm.
I know you get overwhelmed. And I'm just like, Deanna, how can I help? And it's not like I'm completely oblivious to how I can help, but it's also in the same way, like, we have we have our segments of how we do stuff on a daily basis.
Right.
So I know that you handle X, X, and X, and I handle this, this, and this.
Mhm.
Sometimes our daily things get overwhelming, right? Even
Yeah.
if they're on our shoulders and we've always taken care of it every single day, we got to ask for help from either each other,
Mhm.
our parents, right? If
Yeah.
if they're available, and or our children,
Yeah.
right? Especially the older ones.
I agree. And then
I'm sorry, and the key word for this is delegation. Asking people for help or delegating it to the little kids in your house for simple chores that they can do.
yes, I agree. And also be specific.
Yeah.
Like if you're the type of person that has to have things done a certain way, you have to be specific. You can't just like assume that whoever you're asking to complete that task is going to do it a certain way.
Hmm.
And or if you're okay with it, like if you want it done a specific way, be okay with the fact that it's done
Hmm.
and it's complete. And it might not necessarily be done in the way that you want it to be done, but it's
Yeah.
also done.
Right. Now, and also for the kids' chores, right?
Yeah.
When you delegate these out, and I think we, even you and I, have thought of, okay, well, he can't do this chore. He's not,
Right.
right? And then three or four doors down, now I'm not saying to do this, but three or four doors down, we have this kid that's younger than our oldest riding a riding lawnmower, cutting their grass at, I don't know, 7, 8 years old,
Yeah. And he uses the
zero turn lawnmowers.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
The weed whacker.
the weed whacker.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we also limit our kids of how they can help out sometimes.
Yeah.
So obviously there's safety concerns involved with the lawnmower. So no, don't come back at me and say that Matt told me to have my 2.5-month old baby out here cutting the grass. But I mean, some kids can do more chores than what we give them credit for or what we think that they are mentally able to do. So just
Yeah.
try it out, right? And then, the practical delegation tips. Like you wrote some great ones down here, like hiring help for cleaning, hiring help for grocery shopping. And I read a book a few years back, and it was very interesting about, you know, once you get to a certain point in your life, or once you get too busy, or once your career takes off,
Yeah.
and you still want to save money, and you don't want to spend that $30, you don't want to spend that $40 or whatever it is to hire someone to grocery shop for you, right? You need to look back
Wait, why is it so much for them to grocery shop?
30
Where
to
are you getting?
$40.
Yeah, where are you
Well, you
getting your
have the
groceries
delivery
from?
fee,
It's
and
like
then
7.99.
and then you have a tip.
Oh,
And if you're given a 10% tip on a $300, it's $30
okay.
right there.
I get it. All right. Your math wasn't mathing in my head. I forgot about tipping.
You have to. Okay. So don't let her order groceries from you. Let me order groceries from you, and I will tip. So, anyways, going back to it, you think of the time that you're saving, especially if you're busy, by having somebody else do chores for you. Unless you like going grocery shopping, you know, that could be your thing to where you like
Mhm.
doing it and you like being out and
Yeah, it's part of, like, your self-care.
yeah,
Like, you
walking
need
around,
yeah,
getting
listening
up.
to a book and
That's
doing it.
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But I don't enjoy it anymore, and we hire someone to shop for our groceries and deliver them. And during that time that we spend the 30 or $40 to pay this person or tip this person, I'm already making money back because I am at home working on something else.
Yeah, it's like, that task is done and we're good, and
Right.
then we just have to wait for it to be delivered, and then we'll put it away
Hmm.
and wash our hands of it.
Yeah.
I will say that, if we could delegate laundry to somebody, that would be
Well, I'm
amazing.
sure they have that diaper laundry service like pickup. They might do it for kids' clothes.
Yeah, but also I don't want anybody touching my stuff. Like, if they could make a robot that
Watch
does
out, they
laundry,
are. Yeah. See,
I would get it.
the problem is with our house is that our kids go through their entire wardrobe in one day, and we
Yeah,
would need that 24-hour turnaround.
that's why we
They'd be
need a
naked.
robot.
They'd be naked for school the next day.
We'd have the robot that would be just like doing the like hamper to the washer and then
It just
washer
kills
to the dryer.
itself.
Yes, and then it'd be like, help, please.
It sticks its finger in like an electrical socket and then one leg in the tub, and he's like, I can't do
We
it.
can't like keep these robots employed
Yeah.
because they keep on.
Killing themselves. Maybe that's why our
Oh,
washer went out.
yes, probably.
So we need to break the super parent mentality. Get the kids involved with age appropriate chores. Hire help for cleaning, grocery shopping, or whatever is possible and out there as an option. And ask extended family members or friends for support with school pickups or babysitting. Hopefully that's available to you.
Or
Um,
even on the sport basis, like
yeah,
if it is straining you so much to take your kid to this one particular practice
right.
or something because of the time,
Hmm.
because practices now start at like 4:30 or 5 o'clock and then they go until like 6:30 or 7 or something, and it's
Hmm.
like, what this was thinking. But anyway,
Right.
ask for help. Like, ask another parent that you trust on the team to like pick them up
Pick them
and
up.
drop them off or something, or split up those times. If you take them, could you please, and I'll pick them up. Just asking for that help.
Yeah, the share rides or carpooling,
Hmm.
one parent taking, kids to school or back or to practice and games. And yeah, that's perfect, especially if you have that. Like they used to say, it takes a village to raise a kid, and hopefully, everybody has that in their
Yeah.
life. Not, I guess you could join some mom groups, start talking to the parents that are on the team,
Yeah.
maybe go to PTO meetings and meet some people there as well at the school, kids' school events, and just reach out that way to try to see what kind of help you can get, what kind of help is available, and also you can also, make some new friends that way as well. Now, moving on to automating routine tasks. You obviously do more of the automation than I do for our family. So,
Yeah.
what are a couple things that can be automated to help with this, time management?
So like all of our bills are automated.
Okay.
We don't pay any that aren't automated. Obviously you take care of the grocery ordering.
Right.
You do the whole entire list. Also, I mean, with that being said, we have just a list, a running list in our kitchen. Something runs out and we write it down.
Mhm.
And then from there, you have a set schedule where you order the groceries every Thursday.
Right.
And then you just take that list. You know, you also are nice enough to make the meals,
Mhm.
do the special requests,
Right.
ask the kids to do the special requests, and then you order those. Get those automated and out the door. And then, subscription services. We don't have any of those. Oh, wait, no, we do because you got fancy water.
So yeah, you can automate things such as far as like automatic bill of payments, where if you have a monthly mortgage and it's the same price all the time, you can do that, or
Yeah.
Comcast or your
Credit card, whatever it is.
right, and you can automate that. You can automate some grocery things.
Yeah.
Some are more difficult than other.
And that would
One,
be subscription based, right?
yeah, that would be
Yeah.
subscription based. Yeah, so like Amazon, you could do, I drink essential water, I drink Fiji water, and I just set that up on, I get a case every 2 weeks. Sometimes it's on time, sometimes it isn't. So that kind of sucks when it's not on time, because then you have to go outside of your automation and go and make a special trip for it, right?
Yeah.
So
But you
that's
can
how.
also do like diapers and stuff, diapers,
Oh yeah,
baby wipes, those types of things that you know that you're gonna end up needing, and your kid, you know how much they poop
right.
normally, and then you can kind of schedule it once that time comes up.
And I don't know if other parents do it as well, but months and years in advance, we put, our appointments, plan vacations or ideas of vacations in our calendar. So nothing is like
Mhm.
last minute. Nothing is, hold this
Yeah,
business card for 6 months until your next, appointment. Like as soon as our appointments, and I think you kind of got me on this, but as soon as an appointment is made, it is in the calendar and it is there, right? So we never double
that
book.
sounds right. I probably
we,
nailed that one into your
we
brain.
never overbook. We don't double book.
Yeah. But I also take it a step further. The second that the school calendars are released,
Yeah,
I go into our calendar and I put down every half day, every
yeah,
break, and everything, and I have it color coded by the child
hmm,
because they are in two different school districts.
right.
And then I also one of our middle kiddo, Brady, his school does a lot of spirit wear and like special dates and everything, and those get released on a monthly basis. So I put that in the calendar so it's not like 11 p.m. the night before saying, tomorrow's the 100th day. I need you to sew 100 googly eyes onto a t-shirt for
Right.
me.
No, I mean, and that's a great idea too, because especially at the start of school time, when we get that calendar for the whole school year,
Hmm.
we're so busy. We just kind of, that's one of those things that we think is, important, but we put it over to the side. And then we get so wrapped up with the school year, getting in our new routines, and we forget to put this stuff in our calendars. We forget to acknowledge it. And then it's the night before. And like you said, the kid needs a costume for, the 100th day of school, or the kid needs a costume for, or baked goods or something like that
Yeah.
for the next day. This way we have it in our calendar. It's there for the entire year, and typically there might be one or two things that pop up the
Yeah.
entire school year that we just were not prepared for. And it wasn't on us, it was actually on the teacher or the school board.
100%. Yeah.
And then we also feel good because we can be like, hey, get your shit together. We had
Oh
our
my
shit
God.
together.
We are so much better than
You
you.
guys need to listen to our podcast.
Sounds like you need some task management.
Now, talking about these extra things that come up, these things that weren't planned, these things that weren't scheduled, let's talk about the importance of saying no,
Yeah. That
right?
is extremely important.
Why saying no is essential at times.
It is because you don't want to overextend yourself. You don't want to overextend your kids.
Right.
And if something pops up that is spur of the moment and it works in your schedule,
Mhm.
yeah, by all means do it. But if it's like pushing you and now you feel like everything is going to kind of teeter out of balance and you're going to feel like you're less successful in certain areas because now you can't do the things that you had tasked for that day,
Right.
saying no is okay.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before, and I made fun of you for your analogy of buckets, like how you have buckets
Yes.
that get filled, right? You
Yes,
have certain
yes.
buckets. But like when you're talking about things that aren't necessary, if it doesn't fill, my happiness bucket, or if it doesn't fill a happiness bucket for one of my kids, or it doesn't
Hmm.
fill, you're not happy about it, it doesn't improve our life, it doesn't really bring any joy to me, or make me a better person to be a part of this
Hmm.
thing, I'm not doing it. I'm saying no. And I know that sounds like an asshole thing, but I think it needs to be okay. It needs to start being okay in life for us to be like, no, and if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry, but I'll see you at the next thing.
Yeah. You're
Right?
really good at that. You're really good at setting like healthy boundaries for yourself
No.
and knowing how to prioritize those things for yourself. And I think that I'm very bad at that. I tend to overbook myself to the
You
extreme
are a
and
people pleaser.
and
You are.
then I bitch about how tired and exhausted I am and then I just want to cry
Well, like
and then
yesterday,
yeah.
we had you took Braden to he had two soccer games back to back.
Yeah.
Then he had another soccer event to go to that night, and then he also had a birthday party. And you were like, "We're gonna do all of it." and you would have been driving back and forth across town from Novi to Howell to Howell to Novi to Howell to Detroit, from Detroit to Howell to Novi again,
Yeah.
all in one day. And
And
I
in my
just said,
head,
Deanna,
I thought,
stop.
I mean, granted, that was 11, or I'm sorry, 1 p.m., 2 espresso shots in, and I was like, I can fucking do it all. Bring it. I got it. And then you were like, go take a nap.
Yeah.
Let's try to take a little snooze. And I did. And then I was like, you know what? But no, and
Well, here's the thing.
I also asked Braden.
Exactly. You thought that after he just played, whatever their game is, an hour
Yeah.
long or whatever, he
Yeah.
just played 2 1-hour games back to back. He had to wake up early.
Mm-hmm.
It was his Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It's his day off. And then, you thought in your head that he would want to do it all. And then
That's how he
asked,
is.
yeah, I know. But then you asked him, and he's like, well, if we don't go to this soccer event, this soccer game, will we be able to go to another one in the future? And you said yes. And he just chose one thing instead of
Yeah.
doing both, right?
Yeah.
So you were able to take a nap,
Mm-hmm.
take a little bit of, get a little bit of energy back, wake up and be refreshed for the night.
Yeah. And it worked out great. He had a blast.
Right.
And I wasn't extremely overwhelmed, and I mean, I still had a lot of guilt because the soccer event that we were supposed to go to was like seeing a professional soccer team play,
Yeah.
and those cost money, and but also the cost of the tickets paled in comparison to what it would have cost me to drive out there and then drive back, because that would have been a full tank of gas,
Right.
and
Now, and I also want to say, and I know the people that listen to this podcast, which we greatly appreciate you listening and downloading and everything. I don't want you to think that I am a complete asshole. I am an asshole, but I'm not a complete asshole throughout the whole time. Now, when I say if it doesn't benefit me or my family, I'm not doing it. Yes, that sounds selfish. Sure. But that doesn't mean that I don't go out and do things like if someone is in need of something,
yeah, you're
I'm
normally the
there,
first person that offers a helping hand.
right?
Yeah.
So, certain events, that's what I'm talking about. Events, things that come up last minute, birthday parties. If it doesn't, benefit us, my family, or if someone, one of my kids doesn't want to go, I don't feel bad for saying no.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to put my kid into a situation where they feel like they have to be there when they don't need to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to recognize the limits, prioritize our family, our personal time, and also our family's feelings,
Hmm.
and set healthy boundaries with friends, family, and work commitments.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I will say that being able to say no and having those healthy boundaries, it's not only good for you personally, but it's also a good um trait to have your children see.
Mhm.
Because like you said, I am a people person, or
People person?
people, people pleaser.
Oh, people please it. There we go. Okay.
Yes. And I tend to overbook myself and overextend myself and then feel like crap after, because I've done all this, but there's really nothing to visually or like mentally prove in that.
Now, when I was a teenager,
Yeah.
or even in my 20s, I always thought that if I said no, then I wouldn't be invited again,
Hmm.
like to the next thing.
Yeah.
And I can see where I was with that. Like I would, "Oh, okay, let's go. We're having a
Yeah.
bonfire. Let's go. There's a show at a bar. Let's go. I'll go. I don't want to go, but I'm gonna go."
Yeah.
And now I've completely shrugged that off, and I do not feel that way anymore. And if they don't invite me again, oh well, I'm straight.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
Dang it.
man.
So let's recap. We talked about prioritization, focusing on what matters most.
Yeah.
We talked about the task batching,
Yeah.
grouping similar tasks to save time.
Yeah, that's huge.
We talked about time blocking, scheduling dedicated time for family and personal tasks.
Hmm.
What else was there?
There was delegation, another
Right.
huge one,
Mhm.
making sure that you don't have like we need to get rid of that whole entire thought process that we can individually do it all.
Gotta ask for help.
Yeah, you got to ask for help and delegate all the crap. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the crap that you don't want to do. It's just the crap that you want to get off your plate and get done.
Right.
Automation. Automate all the stuff that doesn't need your immediate your hands on it.
Right.
And it can be
We have the technology out there to
yeah,
automate bills, to automate groceries, to automate
exactly. Let
shipments.
the robots do it.
Right.
And then also saying no. Like just take a second, reflect on it, and say no if you want to say no, and don't feel guilty about saying no.
Right. No, I agree. And obviously, this is a work in progress. We don't have it 100% down, right?
Right.
We might not have it 100% down in a year from now. But as long as we keep focusing on this and acknowledge that time management is an ongoing process,
Hmm.
and that it's okay to adjust strategies as life changes.
Yes.
Let's stop doing the same thing over and over and over again, thinking that we're going to get a different result.
Yeah. You're not.
Right.
You're just going to slowly go crazy.
Yeah. We greatly appreciate you for listening.
Yeah, on that note.
We know you have time management. You don't want to sit here any longer. We greatly appreciate you for listening. Our podcast is on all of the major streaming services. We also broadcast our live podcast, this recording right now, in a video on YouTube. If you ever want to see how we record it, what it looks like,
Yeah.
how we talk with each other.
See our beautiful faces.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, once again, thank you for tuning in. If you ever want to reach out to us, you can reach us at info@chasingbalance.info. I'm Matt,
I'm Deanna.
and this is Chasing Balance.
Real life parenting, one conversation at a time.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye.